Welcome back everybody, I'm Jo Ciastula and this is the final episode of the season of the GKA News Show. In this episode, we're going to have a look back and run through the 2021 season and see who has been crowned world champions. Starting off with the twin tip freestyle, what a season it has been. Starting off in Tarifa, Spain. This is my hometown. It is one of the European and worldwide meccas of our sport, and man, did the conditions come in. Starting off the event with nice light poniente, started to see the freestyle, the handle passes and the spins, but then the Levante kicked in. It was carnage out there. 40 knots, and we had the first time appearance of the mixed format, meaning that depending on the conditions, the judges and the race directors can introduce big air aspects. So at the beginning it was 4 freestyle tricks, 0 big air tricks, then it went to 3, then it went to 2, and then it was full big air. And let's have a look at what went down, because man, was it blowing. Welcome to day 3, and the Levante is still here. It is windy, but this is the traditional wind for this time of the year here in Tarifa. Continuing on with the men, it has been ridiculous, the heights and the tricks we have seen from these guys. We've seen highlights in the quarters, guys like Oswald Smith. We've had Kimo Mudmud from Egypt hitting one of the biggest scores of the day with a kite loop board off. Artur Gilbert going all the way through, pulling those big French power moves. And then Jeremy Burlando, the Italian from the Canaries, going through heat for heat. The youngster is here to stay. Man, was that final absolutely nuking. We had Artur Gilbert, Adeldi Cornell, we had Jeremy Burlando and Ewan Jasper from Australia. Pound for pound, move for move, all of the boys were just throwing it down from the beginning. But it was Jeremy Burlando taking an early lead. Youngblood, rookie coming here on tour, coming out of the Canaries, the Italian 16.97 was still in the lead. Big moves out there, but then the Frenchman, he was ready to pounce. Artur Gilbert throwing one of the biggest kite loop board offs we have seen and just adding style as these. We had the Black Panther, Adeldi Cornell in there. He was ready to pounce, had a huge kite loop boogie loop on the outside. Just unfortunately wasn't able to back it up with another couple of maneuvers. And then Ewan Jasper from Australia, we saw multiple grabs, nice spins, and a couple of big kite loops, but in the end couldn't quite get up there with the boys. So coming off with the win, Artur Gilbert from France, second position, Jeremy Burlando, third position, Ewan Jasper. And fourth, we had Adeldi Cornell.
Yeah, and first I'm super stoked to take the win here, and it was a long time with no comp, so definitely it's very good to come back in the competition, and with a win it was super good. I'm very happy.
Then it was time for the girls to come out on the water. The conditions, the extreme conditions here in Tarifa, they have been holding down. It is incredible to see how they are pushing the envelope. They have no fear. We saw Mikiali Sol, world champion, triple front rolls with board off. She was doing boogie loops, pulling the kite loops, showing her dominance of the sport. Then we had Pippa van Issel, the powerhouse from the Netherlands. You can always see the smile, pulling off some of the biggest kite loops we've seen here in the competition. Hannah Whiteley, when it is strong wind, she was always a girl to be beaten. We saw her doing a couple of big board offs and some kite loops, making her way through the ranks. And then also, let's not forget, Rita Arnaus, Mr. Consistency, coming from Catalonia, putting off one of the biggest back roll kite loops we've seen to date. In fourth position, we had Rita Arnaus. In third position, we had Hannah Whiteley. Second position, Pippa van Issel. And the queen of Tarifa, Mikiali Sol.
I was definitely not expecting it to be Levante at all, and I just got here, saw the forecast, and I was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an interesting one. But in the end, it just turned out to be one of the most fun heats I've had in a while, and it's just stoked to be back competing, and especially having new challenges as it goes on.
Make sure you guys and girls stay tuned, because this is not over. This hasn't finished. Levante is still here tomorrow, going down a little bit. So if everything goes well and we have those solid 20 knots, we are going to be going with a best trick of the freestyle. So make sure to follow us on all of our social medias, because there is action at day 4 in Tarifa. I always love to see how the Levante blows the cobwebs off of any athletes that comes here to the southern coast of Spain. It's powerful, it's gusty, it's challenging. You really have to adapt to get in there and be able to get the points. But it was Artur Gilbert from France and Michael Sol from Brazil who were the most complete riders and climbed to the top of the podium. After the Tarifa event, it was time to go over to the warm, beautiful waters of Brazil. We moved over to the Super Kite in Cumbuco, and now let's have a look because the best freestyle moves on the planet were thrown down at this event. All I can say about today is I am speechless. The action we have seen here at the Super Kite 2021 is going to go down in the history books. Starting off with the semi-final of the men, the guys were throwing down, the wind was up, and there was a nice little kicker out. We've seen 10-point moves both on the girls and the guys side throughout the whole competition. Now let's have a little look at the highlights. All the way coming through into the finals, the Brazilians, they have the power and they know the local knowledge. They know the spot. Carlos Mario from Brazil taking the win, the return of the king. Watch out 2022, getting a 10-point ride on the end, throwing down one of the best heart attack sevens we've seen until date and fully deserving the win here in Cumbuco.
Então, muito feliz com o título aqui de campeão na Super Kite Brasil. Quero agradecer a Deus, agradecer a todo mundo aqui que esteve na praia aqui. Agradecer meus patrocinadores por suporte imenso que eles estão me dando. E é isso, tô de volta aí, graças a Deus. E ano que vem tô aí, firme e forte outra vez. E é isso.
Also out there we had Maxime Chablot, had it down to the very last trick. Had to get an 8.5-ish to be able to get the win, but just came very, very short of that. But the Swissman putting down all of the tricks out there and fighting it out, because let's not forget, in that final there were two more Brazilians. Eric Anderson, it was move for move throughout all of the competitors. Had also a backside 317, super horizontal, super powerful, nice extension, and coming in, and we're gonna see how they're gonna end off. But Manuel Suarez, this guy has had some of the biggest moves in the competition and had an absolute blinder of a heart attack 7 on his first move of the final, but then unfortunately couldn't keep up the consistency, meaning that he was not able to make it all the way to the top. So a big congratulations from us, because the winner here in Brazil and the return of the king, Carlos Mario. So coming in second position, close all the way to the end, was Maxime Chablot, and in third position the Brazilian Eric Anderson. On the ladies' side, it is incredible to see how the girls are pushing the envelope of women kiteboarding. We have seen one of the best finals out there with multiple world champions out on the water. We saw Michael Sol, Karolina Winkowska, Natalie Lambrecht and Rita Arnaus throwing down from the very first move. Rita and Mika were the only two that had the possibility of being world champion. They were neck and neck. We've seen a 9 from Rita, we saw another 9 from Mika, and then also a 10.0 to close off the heat and take the win and the world championship with a 317 double handle pass landed to perfection. Also a big shout out there, because in third position, Karolina Winkowska, coming all the way back, she hasn't competed in freestyle since 2016, in third position, and then in fourth position for the first time in a final, Natalie Lambrecht from Sweden.
I'm so happy, I don't even have words to describe what I'm feeling right now. Wow, 4-time world champion. Jesus, that's so much. I'm just so stoked to have made another double in the event. I think this one was even better than my first one, and I'm really happy that I got to show people what girls are actually made of and what they can do. And I'm honestly just super happy right now.
And just like that, with champagne showers and champions, we're finishing off the 2021 GK Kite World Tour season. Watch out for next year, because it's just going to be bigger, better, harder, and make sure you stay tuned. Brazil always has a special place in every freestyler's heart. This is the Mecca. Cumbuco is that place where new moves are shown, where everybody wants to prove a point and show if they have what it takes to be the champion. Returning from injury, we had at this event, which is one of the highlights, Carlos Mario Bebé. This guy has been a multiple-time world champion. He is one of the guys that pushed the double handle pass movement and invented so many different tricks. We saw it from the beginning of the competition. He had the fire, he had the smile, and more importantly, he was hungry, and his home crowd was there to support him. Heat after heat, like a hammer on a nail, boom, boom, was just throwing out move after move, and in the end, taking the event, meaning we have the return of the king. But let's not forget also Arthur Gilbert from France, our new world champion, making it through all the way to the quarterfinals, which was all that he had to do because there was Jeremy Burlando, there was Valgarat, there was Carlos. All of them were fighting, but the Frenchman kept his cool. He kept it calm and collected, threw down the moves when he needed to, and took his first world championship title. Let's have a look and see how he felt straight after that heat.
Feel super good now. I'm a bit stressed in my heat, but now it's totally good.
On the ladies' side, Brazil always has the beauty, it has the flair, the people, the vibe, the music, and the girls were pushing at this event. We've seen some very powerful riding, and a lot of the ladies have really stepped up their game. We saw Natalie Lambrecht from Sweden getting into her first final, smiles left, right and center. This girl was charging. Rita Anas from Spain, she was pushing every single heat. Miss Consistency, really tweaking it out. She has one of the nicest 313 and heart attacks we've seen to date. But once again, it was Michaeli Sol. Mika is pushing the freestyle level of the ladies to another galaxy. We saw her land for the first time a 317. That is a double frontside handle pass in her heat, and it was textbook. She has the style, she has the hunger, and man, does she have the drive. Taking once again the win at the Super Kite Brazilian event, and also claiming herself the most complete rider on the planet with yet another World Championship title. And let's have a look and see the vibe just after that heat.
I'm so happy. I don't even have words to describe what I'm feeling right now. Wow, 4-time world champion. Jesus, that's so much. I'm just so stoked to have made another double in the event. I think this one was even better than my first one, and I'm really happy that I got to show people what girls are actually made of and what they can do. And I'm honestly just super happy right now.
It's always great to see the smiles, the vibes when it comes to the end of a season. And what better place to end it on a freestyle than in a place like Kumbuko. We've seen Arthur Gilbert and Michaeli Sol claim those world champions, but now let's have a look at the overall standings of the 2021 GKA Kite World Tour ranking. In 5th position from Switzerland, Maxime Chablot. In 4th, El Tigre, Posito Martinez from the Dominican Republic. In 3rd position, coming back strong, we have Carlos Maria from Brazil. In 2nd position, the youngster proving a point, Jeremy Burlando from Spain. And our world champion this year, Arthur Gilbert from France. And on the women's ranking, in 5th position, we have Bruna Cagia from Brazil. In 4th position, Natalie Lambrecht from Sweden. In 3rd, we have Peppa van Eersel from the Netherlands. In 2nd, we have Rita Anos from Spain. And our world champion this year, Michaeli Sol from Brazil. Moving over to the GKA Kite-Surf World Cup. Due to the situation over the past years, it was decided that our event in Cape Verde in 2020 would be the first counting event of this season. Cape Verde is one of the birthplaces of our sport. We have riders like Mitu Monteiro, Ayrton Cosilino, Machu Lopez that have been pushing the kitesurfing discipline from the beginning. But let's jog our memory and have a look at what happened on the island of Sal.
Final day of competition here at Kite Beach. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go to Punta Preta. That energy just didn't come, so we decided to run the competition here. Conditions were hard, but hey, best kite surfers on the planet made absolute destruction out on the water. Turn for turn, move for move. It was close in every single heat. In the first semi-finals of the day, we had Pedro Matos from Brazil versus James Carew. Both of these boys were throwing down from the start, but the power and the maneuverability and the style from the Aussie made him go through to the super final.
Yeah, it's super light out there and there's no waves at all. I think it was like 4 waves that whole set, so it's hard. I'm out of path running up the beach. I'm stoked. In the final, do it.
Then we had Machu Lopez versus Ayrton Cosolino, a Cape Verdean standoff. These boys have been back and forth. Both of them have been world champion. Machu cool and collected, winning by 0.2 of a point at the end of the heat. In the small final between Ayrton and Pedro, waves were very hard. Selection was key, like it's been throughout the whole event. Ayrton really putting in the extra moves, grabbing the waves up the top, linking out those turns and just edging past Pedro for third position. Moving over to the super final here in Cape Verde. Both of the boys were throwing down turn for turn. James Carew, he was on the hunt for his first event win, but Matthew Lopez is back from injury and has the energy in front of his local crowd. Wave for wave, turn for turn. Matthew got the early advantage, getting in the waves at the beginning, but then Mr. Carew woke up, got it in the 5th and the 6th wave, 2 sevens on the board, and crowns himself king of the GKA Kite-Surf World Cup in Cape Verde.
I felt really good coming in this comp. I've been training a lot, been training hard, been working my ass off for this, so I felt like I was really ready for this. This has been a dream of mine for a while. I've been visualizing it so much. I don't know, it feels unreal. It feels unreal.
So on the women's side, these girls are pushing the envelope of the sport. Every single event, they just get better and better, and new faces appear out on tour. In the first semi-final, we had Micaeli Sol versus Ines Correa. Mika starting to get into the surfing discipline, but the experience and the power from the Portuguese local here in Cape Verde means that she went through to the final. In the second semi-finals, we had our current world champion, Carlo Herrera, versus powerhouse Perry Roberts. Wow, are the Aussies here on fire. Turn for turn, Carla tried to hold her back, but in the end, Perry made it through to the final. In the mini-final of the girls, we had Micaeli Sol versus Carla Herrera. Turn for turn, Carla had a little bit more style, a little bit more fluidity throughout the waves, edging out the young Brazilian, making her go into third position. For the super final of the ladies, we have been saying it for the whole event. Ines Correa, Perry Roberts. Both of these girls have a very similar style. They really power through the turns, huge in gaining bottom turns, hitting the top as hard as possible. But local knowledge and the experience of the peak in these hard conditions mean that Ines Correa is the queen here in Cape Verde.
Yeah, I'm super happy and super stoked with my results here in Cabo Verde because it's my second, almost my first home. And most of the people who inspire me every day, they live here, they are from here, so it's super special to share with them the first place.
What a way to finish the first event of the GKA Kite World Tour here in Cape Verde. It's been different, but it's been amazing. Now it's time for the freestylers, the spin, the handle passes, the flare, the air. We are going to be going over to Lucat in April. Stay tuned. Those are some great memories of a beautiful event there in Cape Verde. James Carew taking the win, which was his first event win of his career, and then Ines Correa once again proving she is the queen of Cape Verde. Little did we know the Cape Verdean event was going to be the last event for a while due to the worldwide pandemic, and it wasn't until Germany 2021 where we started off with a bang in Silt.
year and a half has passed since the last event. There has been a lot of changes in the sports. We've seen guys like James Carew and Ayrton Cosolino pushing the big air strapless, where the guys are going sky high, looping new styles in the strapless freestyle. We've seen guys pushing the hacks on the surfing like Sebastian Ribeiro and Pedro Matos, and even triple front rolls with the likes of Camille Delanois. And what better place to prove yourself, to see that you have been putting in the hours on the water, than the stormy north coast of Germany.
What a day here on the island of Sylt. It's been 25 to 30 knots pumping the whole day. Really tough and challenging conditions, but our riders have been able to conquer these conditions and battle it out here on the North Sea in Germany. We started from the men's quarterfinals with Pedro, James and Ayrton dominating their heats with huge aerials, off the lips and massive kite loops. In the first heat of the men's semi-finals, we had an intense heat between legendary Ayrton Cosolino and the Brazilian Pedro Matos. Both were going sky high, pulling off similar repertoire of tricks, but you could really see that Pedro was using his surf knowledge in these challenging conditions, allowing him to win by a small margin over Cosolino. The spectators were eager and waiting for the ultimate showdown to begin. James Carew continued to reach new heights and took the win here in Sylt. Second place went to Pedro Matos and third to Ayrton Cosolino.
Yeah, today's a big step in the right direction. It's not over yet, there's some more heat, some more comps to go, but I'm stoked to start the Euro first event, get it first. So, I mean, I've been fighting hard, I've been training a lot, and it's a big relief. It feels good to be on top.
On the women's side, Capucine dominated her final heat against her opponent, Kerry Roberts. Delanois landed her signature double front roll in her heat. This is the first time a woman has landed this trick in competition. So Capucine from France took first place, Kerry Roberts was second, and Charlotte Carpentier was third.
Well, I'm so happy, I'm so stoked. I've been training since more than a year, every day in freestyle, and yeah, being winning the 7, it's quite so cool.
After 2 days of intense action, we've crowned our champions of Sylt. On the agenda next is the best trick competition, so stay tuned for more action.
What a dream start to the 2021 season. James Carew claiming yet another event win, proving he is one of the most complete riders out there, and he is hungry and on pursuit for maybe his first world championship. And then coming out of nowhere, the rookie Capucine Delanois even landing the first double front roll in the competition, and she is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. For the next event of the season, we made it over to Denmark, Videsande. This beautiful little fishing town, white sandy beaches, great conditions, beautiful vibe and a great culture, but unfortunately Mother Nature was not on our side and we were not able to compete a single day. However, we had such a great experience, we can't wait to be back very soon. Unfortunately, that's the end of the waiting period here in Videsande for the second event of the GKA Kite-Surf World Tour. Conditions just did not meet to that suitable position. We looked at it this morning, it looked like it was getting a little windier, but in the end we could not take the guys and the girls out on the water. Even though we couldn't enjoy the competition while we've been here at the event, we got to check out the local landscape, we got to know the local community, and even saw how a local company takes the plastic waste from these beautiful shores and turns it into surfboard fins and key rings because they want to protect this environment.
That's it here for Denmark, unfortunately, but we are going to be back with a lot more action as at the end of October, we're going for the third event of the season to beautiful Dakhla in Morocco. Make sure you tune in live and follow us on all the social media channels. It's such a shame we weren't able to enjoy the beautiful conditions over in Denmark, so now it's time to go all the way from the north to the beautiful sandy dunes of the Western Sahara in Dakhla, Morocco. For the final event of the season, we made it over to one of the longest right-hand point break waves of the Atlantic, right in front of the beautiful Hotel West Point in Dakhla, Morocco. This event was 100% waves, meaning the guys and the girls would have to prove themselves out there in the waves and the swells. World Championship titles on the line. Let's see who had the fire in Morocco. Final day of competition here, and we almost got all the way through. Started off in the afternoon with the men. We had to wait until about 4 o'clock until that wind started to come through. The main final, Ayrton Cosolino versus Pedro Matos. Ayrton starting off early, playing the Brazilian game, rode the waves on the inside, kept himself busy, even got a little bit of a handle pass, mixing it up in those marginal conditions. Pedro got a good way to start off, and then he waited until the closing seconds of the heat to get the last one. He needed a 7.94 if he was going to get past Ayrton, and he came out with a 7.4. So close, but it is Ayrton Cosolino taking the win here in Dakhla. Moving on into the mini-final, two duotone riders, James Carew, our new world champion, and Sebastian Ribeiro back on tour. Any heat in between these two riders is going to be neck and neck. Sebastian Ribeiro starting off early, getting a couple of big scores, and you could see he was in the moment, he was loose, he was flowing, and his surfing style was coming down the line. James Carew got a good one all the way from the back of the competition area, and then once again, similar scenario as we had with Pedro, waited to that final wave. He needed an 8.9 something if he was going to overtake Seb, who had the lead, and unfortunately came up with an 8.5. This is how close it is in these heats, so congratulations Sebastian Ribeiro in third position and James Carew in fourth.
I was great to be on fourth, but bad, I'm gonna go to the podium.
Phew. On the women's side, we moved up to the semi-finals. Starting off on the water, we had Catarina Edin was going up against the Brazilian Marcela Witt. It was quite marginal conditions out there, but it was the backside riding from the Brazilian that gained her a place into the finals. Then we moved on to semi-final number 2 in between Capucine Delanois and Perry Roberts. Wind started to drop mid-heat, and unfortunately we had to go onto an abandonment. Then suddenly everybody started to pack up their stuff, but Dakhla was not ending. It was not ready to finish. Wind came back and we were able to continue through, and Capucine Delanois, with the biggest combined score of the competition, made it through to that final. Starting off the final in between Marcela Witt and Capucine Delanois, it was almost dark. We went as far as we could, but unfortunately there was just not enough time, and it went completely pitch black, meaning that for the GK Kite-Surf World Cup here in Dakhla, in third position we have Joanna Catarina Eding and Perry Roberts, and in combined first position we have Capucine Delanois and Marcela Witt. Well, that's it for the 2021 season here of the GK Kite-Surf World Cup. What a year it has been. We've seen the strapless freestyle, we've seen the waves, action all the way, and really great to be back into that travel and event ride. But do not forget, we are going to be jumping across the pond as we are going to be going to Brazil for the Super Kite there on the 10th of November. Make sure to tune in on all the socials, Facebook network, all the YouTube. Check out the stream as we will be going live across there with the palm tree. What better way to finish off the season than a 100% wave event? We saw Ayrton Cosolino, he was on fire, he had fuego.
He knew he had a very small chance to claim the World Championship, but he was hungry and he wanted to take the event win from the first turn he did in the first round. Turn after turn, move after move, slash after slash, he just put the nail in the coffin, claiming himself champion in Dakla. James Carew had to make it to the quarterfinals, and he did, claiming himself his first World Championship title. Aussie, 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 and let's have a look and see what he had to say.
Man, just getting some waves, you know, firing from around the corner all the way to the car. Good man, the wind's picking up. Maybe the semi-finals are happening. Get it, job's not done yet. Title, the thing. Yeah, feeling pretty good, All the stress is gone, so, you know, come here on and get some good waves, some good scores.
On the women's side, coming into the final event of the season, everything was up for grabs, but it was Capucine Delanois and Marcella Witt claiming themselves joint first in Dakla. Perry Roberts had just done enough, making her way through to the semi-finals and claiming her first World Championship title, and once again, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Ah, man, I am over the moon. I can't believe that this moment is here. I've thought about this, I've dreamt about this, and to have done it here, I felt super connected today to the waves. I had a really special one. You know, it stood up nicely, the wind was perfect. So someone was looking over me, but you know, I'm proud of the effort that I put in to train my mind to be focused and to be ready, and it's just been such a great experience, and I'm so stoked. Like, no words to describe how great I'm feeling right now.
What an amazing season it has been, and now let's have a look at the overall rankings of the 2021 season. On the men's side, in 5th position we have Rhys Meyerskov from Canada. In 4th we have Matthew Lopez from Spain. In 3rd position we have Pedro Matos from Brazil. In 2nd, Ayrton Cozzolino from Cape Verde, and our new world champion James Carew from Australia. On the women's side, in 5th position we have Marcella Witt from Brazil. In 4th position we have Charlotte Carpentier from France. In 3rd, Joanna Catalina Edding from Sweden. In 2nd position, Capucine Delanois from France, and our new world champion Perry Roberts from Australia. Let's not forget about the GKA Hydrofoil Freestyle. We made it over to Brazil, to the beautiful city of Fortaleza, Praia de Iracema, for the Superfoil 2021. Let's have a look and see what this discipline has to say. Welcome to the beautiful city of Fortaleza for the Superfoil 2021. We are here in the Praia de Iracema, where we can just see the conditions, the skyline. It doesn't get much picture perfect than this. Today we started off with the registrations. Let's not forget, this is a combined event in between the Hydrofoil Freestyle on the GKA side and the wing foiling on the GWA side. So we have a combined event here in Brazil. Day 1 registration went down. We have riders from all the different countries all around the world. But today we started off with a Hydrofoil Freestyle. We saw some of the guys going out strapless and then some of the guys going out with straps. There's 2 paths at the moment, all of them stuck into one big situation, one big combined discipline out there, and the judges are having to see what tricks are what goes where. Innovation left, right and center, because we have not seen some of these moves, and it is so cool to see a new sport emerging, and what better place for that to happen than here in the beautiful country of Brazil. It's incredible to see where the athletes are taking the discipline of hydrofoil freestyle. Charles Brodel and Michael Müller coming out on top of the podium, and the Frenchman claiming himself his first World Championship title.
My last heat, I've done two world first in a heat, my Brodel flip and tricks where I put my bar in my legs and like a king of dead men. I'm really happy to land these tricks in my final. I'm super stoked to win this title. I trained a lot and now I'm really happy to win this title.
Can't wait to see more hydrofoil freestyle events in the 2022 season. And now let's have a look at the overall ranking for this season. In 5th position, Joselito del Rosario from the Dominican Republic. In 4th, Cesar Nathalie from France. In 3rd, Robin Stewart from Canada. In 2nd, Maxime Loin Desjardins from France. And our new world champion, Charles Brodel from France. What a 2021 season it has been. On behalf of the GKA, we would like to thank all of the athletes, organizers, sponsors, volunteers, and everybody that has made this amazing season possible. We can't wait to be back in the 2022 where we will be starting in Colombia in March. I'm Jo Ciastula. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.